Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, so if the government is going to detain human beings, like, like if we just go full on banality of evil of this thing and just accept that the government is going to lock up human beings, and we could get past whether or not you think they should be locking up human beings, like immigrants who don't have their paperwork in order, or 5-year-olds whose parents might look brown. If you think it's okay to lock those people up, consider this. During the concentration camp era of Germany, when they liberated the camps, they found, and they had to burn a lot of them down because of typhus and tuberculosis. We had a lot of these communicable diseases, infectious diseases that they found in these horrible places. Why? Because they don't have the medical attention, because they're second-class citizens. They don't have the facilities because there's too many of them. They're conducting a mass deportation. They don't have the sanitation because of the same reasons. Because little do they care. They're putting their money other places, and there are far too many people to actually do anything about it. Which is why in 2004, Chip, does that year ring any bells to you? 2004.
So 2004, if I remember correctly, I was still in high school.
You were in high school, but do you know what we were doing in America with our our kids fresh out of high school? If you were 18 years old, you had the option to go to Iraq to kill people, or they might send you to Afghanistan at that point in 2004. And we had just invented this thing called ICE, which fell under the Department of Homeland Security. We wanted it to be its own special thing and be a little tougher, so we called it ICE instead of INS. And we had this new thing where we'd have concentration camps, and we already had detention centers and stuff like that, but we kind of like upped our game in 2004, and we rounded up a whole hell of a lot of people, mostly Muslims back then, and we killed 32 people in the first year. 32 people. Why do you think we killed 32 people in 1 year, the first year of ICE being a thing?
Because there were no standard procedures in place and everybody was just doing whatever they wanted.
Sort of, yeah. It wasn't that they were doing whatever they wanted; it's that they were ill prepared. Right? They built these shitty concentration camps, flooded them with people that they were arresting, and they didn't have any due process, and they didn't have the medical facilities, and so a lot of them were dying of infectious diseases like tuberculosis, like influenza, like the ones that we know what we're talking about, right? The regular old killers. Chickenpox flies through like crazy, and when you take a bunch of people from different parts of the country and you stick them in a tiny little area, yes, highly infectious diseases.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they had another spike in 2020 because of COVID, but we have not killed as many people in 2004 as we did in 2004. 32 people died in 2004, first year of ICE. 2025 is over. Can you guess how many people ICE murdered in its facilities? How many people died in ICE custody in 2025?
15.
No, it was 32. It is the most bloody, if you count how many people they actually shot in the street as well, it is the bloodiest year since the founding of ICE.
Jesus.
Was 2025. Yeah, the bloodiest year since the history of the agency. Now, the agency's only 21 years old, but I think in 21 years, people often will say, why don't you care about when Obama deported all those millions of people? Well, because can you guess, Chip, how many people ICE killed in the 8 years of Obama? Now, remember, in 1 year, Donald Trump's ICE killed 32 people plus all the people they shot in the streets.
Yeah.
How many people do you think Barack Obama, the deporter-in-chief, he deported more people than any other president, how many people do you think his ICE killed in all 8 years?
32? Is that going to be
Yeah, it was 56.
56. But I want to, the thing about it is though, at least, I guess, well, it doesn't really, I don't really care about the ethics of the nationality of it, but at least, they tried to get rid of immigrants. Now ICE is taking on American citizens also who, oh, are you against Trump? Are you against what we do? Well, then let's
Then you get murdered. Yes.
yeah, let's put you in a truck and take you to a camp, or get murdered directly on the street. Huh? That's what they do now. So
ICE has successfully violated the first 5 amendments of our Constitution over and over and over again.
Jesus.
It really is disgusting. Freedom of speech, right to bear arms, quartering soldiers, freedom of privacy, legal search and seizure, and the right to remain silent. Those and your due process rights. So they violated due process right to remain silent. They violated your right to privacy. They violated the this is the Third Amendment no one ever talks about, but now there's Third Amendment cases against ICE because they forced hotels to quarter ICE agents, which is against the law and the Constitution.
What's the Third Amendment?
The Third Amendment is that a soldier in time of peace, they can't force you to put them up.
Oh, okay.
And so what it does is it creates a reasonable expectation of privacy inside of one's home. And the Third Amendment's usually used as that, but explicitly is that soldiers in time of peace cannot they can't force you to let them in anywhere or give them quarter. You don't have to feed them, you don't have to house them.
I actually wanted to ask you, what do the hotel owners think about this? Like, do they get paid? Is it like profitable for them?
It's been a major problem because the people who are also staying, they don't like the branding of it. They don't like the fact that there's protesters at the hotels, and so they've been saying no, and the federal government's saying no, you have to, and that's against the law. It's a violation of the Third Amendment. So now there's cases in the Supreme Court. It's very, very. I think there's like 2 cases in the history, and none of them went to Supreme Court. This is going to be the first one that goes to the Supreme Court about the Third Amendment.
Jesus Christ, man! What was
in 250 years?
What was that expression that may you be lucky in life to not live through history being made or some shit? Because right now,
yeah. It's like the first time in the history in 250 years, the Third Amendment is going to go to the Supreme Court. It's not. Because it's been so obvious for so long. But I guess I want to get back to like what is the ethical morality, the morality here, right? So like if people don't have citizenship, right? They're not citizens, some of them are, some of them aren't. Is it okay? Does that mean that we can kill them? Right now, there are around 30% of all the people in ICE custody, 30% have an infectious disease.
Jesus, that's insane. That's such a large percentage.
Totally crazy. The numbers coming out of 2025 are pretty insane. 30% have either TB, measles is a big one now because people, measles is making a comeback, chickenpox and COVID, of course, COVID and influenza.
So we're talking about mortality, but why is nobody talking about morbidity? Like, I feel like what's happening, like does the government really have the right to make you sick, especially in a way that may affect you later in life? Like, is that really moral to put somebody in a situation where, hey, you're not a citizen of mine, therefore it's okay to be infected by this virus, which most likely will shorten your life or something?
Yeah, I think that it's another one of the amendments that we have in the Constitution, that it's against the law for the government to use cruel and unusual punishment for any persons. Any persons. And this is what's so great about the Constitution. It doesn't say citizen, it says persons.
Oh.
You do not have to be a citizen to be a recipient of the rights outlined in the Constitution. And they knew what they were doing, because when they want to say citizen, they say citizen. Because when they want to talk about voting rights, they talk about citizens. But they don't say that when it comes to all these other basic human rights. Pretty fantastic, right?
I mean, fantastic depends on how you define fantastic. I think it's fucking horrific, but yeah.
I think the thing is, when you say something like that, Chip, and about the, is it okay for the government to punish you by, first of all, these detainment centers are not supposed to be punishment. They're supposed to be rounding you up and shipping you off someplace else. But the people are staying there longer. That's the other thing that happened in 2004. The average stay was 40 days and 40 nights. It's biblical. That's what's happening this year now too. They're staying there for over a month. They're staying for many weeks, which makes you more susceptible to infectious diseases, which makes you having other issues.
Isn't that also costing the taxpayers more money?
Yeah,
So
but they
wait
don't
a minute.
care. They don't care because the taxpayer is paying a private company to do most of this stuff. So, you know.
So wait, let me see if I get this straight. So Trump supporters, who are apparently these Republicans, they're very fiscally conservative. They care about not paying taxes, about their money being used the right way. They paid so that the government uses their money to do something that actually does worse for the economy. Because all these immigrants were probably just working, minding their own business, contributing to society by eventually paying taxes as
Well, about
income
70%
taxes and
of
all
them
this
were.
kind of stuff.
About 70% of the people who are incarcerated in our ICE detention facilities are people who were at work. You've seen them. They show the video. They show up at people's jobs. Yeah, they're working. They're paying taxes. Yeah.
So how do these, well, I was going to say, how do they justify this thing? But I don't think that they think too much. I think that if Trump says something, they just believe whatever Trump says. So,
Well, they're brown.
oh, the skin color is different. Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
Like almost exclusively, they're almost all brown. I mean,
Jesus Christ,
do you ever see any white people in these? Every time they show video of these places, do you ever see any white people in these cages? I never see any white people in those cages.
Oh,
I
it's
see either
very
brown
sad.
people or light-skinned brown people. That's it. It's horrific.